So last night I finally got to see the new Evil Dead film. I'd say it was pretty good. It's going to be really difficult to actually discuss this movie, as well as do a comparison between the original and the remake without doing some mild spoilers, so I'm just going to warn you right now. If you haven't seen the movie, you might want to watch it first, then check back later, because it's just really hard to do a comparison without potentially ruining something. So here we go. First off, the Necronomicon has been renamed. Obviously, in the original film, it was first known as the Necronomicon Demonto, then later renamed the Necronomicon Ex-Mortis. In this new envisioning, it is actually being called the Narturum Demonto, and other than that, really not too much has changed, except the fact that they really do play up the book in this film as opposed to how it was treated in previous versions of the franchise. So the opening sequence, probably the only sequence that actually does use CG. Other than that, I was very pleased that it was not used at all. Definitely does keep with the spirit of the original film, although the remake is a lot darker, and just as I said in my Red Band trailer review, it looks like it's all business, no lighter moments, and that's definitely very true. It's a lot darker. There are no lighter humorous moments except for maybe just the accidental thing, which is interpreted as funny, but other than that, it's very intense. It's very, in your face. But my main complaint, and once again here is a mild spoiler, my main complaint is the fact that the book previews what is about to happen before it actually does happen. Case in point, the one scene with the character who played the nurse in the film. We see her in the bathroom, and her reflection is slightly distorted, her jaw is revealed. Then we flip to the book, and it shows a very similar thing happening, and then finally we see it happening when she's crouched on the floor in the bathroom. I think the scene would have been a lot more intense if they had just shown it to you rather than gone through so much trouble with the foreshadowing, because I had seen the scene in the trailer. It looked really intense. It looked very cool. Unfortunately, they just kept showing it so many times. It's just by the time it finally happened, I was like, who cares? So that was a main complaint. Second main complaint is, and I didn't even bother to learn the character's name because she was such a nuisance, but she played the girlfriend of Eric. And basically, that character was pretty worthless. She was just in the way. Every time something happened, she'd always run over him like, baby, what's wrong? What's going on? And I'm thinking to myself, dude, don't you know how to say anything else? Or could you just not memorize your lines? They just made it easy for you. So I did not miss her. I was actually looking forward to her just being killed off sooner than she actually did. And another thing is, obviously early on, they said there would be no Ash in the picture. All the characters' names have been changed as well to avoid that confusion, but there were a lot of nods at the original film. Once again, when the book was flipping, there's a scene with a demonic creature rising up from the ground. Seems to mimic or resemble the original film poster, so I thought that was a really good nod. There was also a scene on the front porch when they're entering the cabin, and we see one of the characters holding a deck of cards. So I don't know if that was intended to be a nod as well with the whole clairvoyance test that was done in the previous films, or the original film rather, but I kind of thought they were kind of hinting towards doing that. I'm glad they didn't, but I thought that was also a really good nod, especially in the beginning scenes where Mia is sitting on a car. It's actually the Delta, and she's also wearing a Michigan State sweater. So also, once again, just a very good nod, especially because Sam Raimi did not direct, but the Delta was still in the film. So moving on from there, obviously the Narturum Demonto, as it has been renamed, plays a larger part in the film, and I guess they wanted to avoid any Facebook jokes. Obviously the book no longer has a face, it's just blank skin. So I was actually kind of thinking that would have been funny if anyone did come up with any Facebook jokes. I know it would have been really lame, but it's the media age, so what do you expect? Plus, there's a whole new generation of people who have never seen or heard of Evil Dead, sad but true, and this is their introduction to the series. So other than that, I'm going to try and keep it short here because I really could discuss this film forever. I was analyzing as I was watching, doing cross-comparison, and I'm pretty sure I annoyed the people sitting near me because I was literally just bouncing ideas while watching the film. So the main thing I really do want to say, and once again we're heading into spoiler territory if you didn't already know, but the Eric character, or the brother, has a lot of similarities with Ash. He even wears a similar wardrobe, the blue shirt, white undershirt. He has jeans rather than the brown pants, but it's basically the same wardrobe. Eric obviously is not the Ash character, but he also does go out there with a girlfriend. He goes out there with a sister. So yeah, that's pretty much where the comparisons end there. And I know the producers did say that the film was going to be completely different. They head out to the cabin, and from there on it stops being the same story. I'd say pretty close. There were obviously a lot of similarities, but well, obviously we have all these young people heading out to the cabin, and I really like how they did do the setup for the film, this version. Obviously, rather than having friends going out just to spend the weekend at a cabin, you know, just have fun, whatnot, on their spring break, it's actually more of a personal situation, as we have a group of friends and a brother taking someone out to a cabin to help them kick a drug habit. And I think this really was an excellent cover-up, especially because obviously, and especially the way it's explained in the film is, you know, she would do anything or go to any lengths just to be taken away from there. She would just go back to her bad habits, and that maybe she should be forced to stay and not be allowed to leave. So once the crazy does happen, she starts saying that she's seeing these things, she has these injuries, and they're just assuming it's just her acting up because she wants to leave, when in fact it's this whole demonic possession thing going on. And I also really like the fact that rather than the demons or the possession resembling or being compared to zombies as they were in the first one, they actually really do seem a lot more sinister. They're a lot more demonic. So hopefully people will quit confusing the two and referring to Evil Dead as a zombie movie, because it never was to begin with. Another thing, you know, case in point being here, they did not have any pets on the first trip. Obviously this time they brought a dog. It's funny, although maybe partially sadistic, but I was actually looking forward to the dog being possessed, which didn't happen. Obviously if a dog's not possessed, you can already figure out what happened to the dog. So, but the thing I really do think, and maybe it was necessary to have the dog character all along, because he is the one who uncovers the trapdoor in the floor. They do realize that something in the house did smell badly, but if you think about it, if the dog had not been on the trip, they could have avoided all that trouble altogether. So maybe next time you go on holiday, you shouldn't bring your family pets. Somebody might get possessed. So yeah, I really do like how they worked in the dog, and it, I guess, sort of takes on a different version of the informant type archetype in the film genres or horror genre. Obviously the person who acts as the informant always meets an untimely end, so in this case that was the dog. It does drag in the bit in the middle. It seems kind of mediocre, and you're still waiting for the build, you're still waiting for the film to pick up, and finally once you do reach the climax, it's like, holy shit, they really throw a spin on you. And it was definitely, I did not see it coming, but it was very awesome. So obviously if you're paying attention throughout the film, you are able to keep up, although I know it may cause some confusion here and there with the whole fulfilled whatnot. So obviously if you have seen the film, and I'm just going to come straight out and say it, so once again, a spoiler, Mia is Ash. They did say that the original actual Ash character wasn't going to be in the film, but, and as my boyfriend pointed out to me, the two characters have three-letter names, so it should have been a lot more obvious than it really was. Mia, Ash, 3 letters. So, and even that was a spin on itself. There is an original Ash nod with the Mia character, and that's pretty much where that similarity stops right there as well, for now. The music or the film score was absolutely awesome. They went with the old Hollywood orchestra type music rather than just regular film score, so that really added a really nice touch, especially in the end with the climax and the intensity of everything. It was just the icing on the cake. So that really was something great. I'm actually looking forward to the soundtrack release, which I believe is going to be on the 9th. So definitely going to be looking for that. And there also has been some rumors of the original series and the remake series crossing over and meeting, sort of crossing worlds. It's kind of confusing to think about it, but the fact that the original, obviously they couldn't, or Sam Raimi couldn't get the footage to his original film, so the sequel, which you might as well just call the first reboot, basically was treated as a retrospective continuity type feature. So there were also nods at that film as well. They sort of just seemed to fuse the two, especially the scene with the lullaby. So they did bounce off and reference the two films within the reboot, but all in all, I think the climax is what redeemed it. It did really well. Like I said, the middle just seems to drag. It was kind of dull for me, but it really was a great film. I would definitely say if you are an Evil Dead fan and you're hesitant to watch it because you thought the film was going to do poorly, I would say give it the benefit of the doubt. Go ahead and see it, see what you think. Also, once again, here's another spoiler. If you sit through the ending credits, they sort of do the Marvel thing, so you actually have Bruce's profile. He turns towards the camera and says groovy, so I think that also does hint towards the crossover as well, but who knows if that actually will come to pass. I know there's been rumor of an Army of Darkness sequel, so once again, we really don't know if this will come to pass. Bruce Campbell seems hesitant to want to step back into the role of Ash, especially with, how hard it was in his youth, and he's no spring chicken. He's definitely an awesome actor still, but yeah, that's a very demanding role. So that's pretty much it for today. Obviously, if you sat through this, I ruined a lot of the movie if you haven't seen it. If you have seen it, I'm definitely looking forward to bouncing some thoughts and ideas off of you. What do you think about the whole crossover potential? Do you really think the sequel for Army of Darkness actually will come to pass? And obviously they did leave an opening for another reboot sequel, and I believe that has already been confirmed, so there we go. So tons more news and lots of good stuff to look forward to, hopefully, but that is it. I will talk to you later, and I look forward to discussing with those of you who have any other thoughts or opinions that I may have not considered. So I will leave you to it, and thanks for watching.